Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a good one. But before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, OnPay. Without them, we could not be sharing these stories. Today on Atlanta Business Radio, we have Dr. E with the Parent Pilot. Welcome, Dr. E.
Thank you, Lee, and thank you for having me, sir.
Well, I'm excited to learn about the Parent Pilot. How are you serving folks?
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Yes. We are serving folks, and actually the Parent Pilot is an all-parenting organization, and that really started, the concept really started 15 years ago when I got into mental health counseling. I'm a therapist, and I was literally dealing with hundreds of parents and their students and their children, and realized that parents really needed a focus, tools, to really go through this and navigate parenting in a way that really built a great relationship with their children. So I started the Parent Pilot, and the Parent Pilot is a combination of my two loves. One, parenting, and also flying airplanes. And so what we do is our four approaches, supportive parenting approaches are parent coaching, parent education, parent advocacy, and counseling, all to support, to help parents soar with practical and relative parenting resources.
So what do you think is the heart of the challenge here? I know there's no manual for being a parent, really, and a lot of people are just winging it, but do you find that this is because a lot of folks, maybe their own parents didn't do such a great job, so they aren't equipped, or maybe they're repeating some of the mistakes that their parents made?
Yes, and very good question. And also let me say that I'm also a parent of three daughters. Two daughters are grown, and I have one in high school. So I'm actually living, breathing this journey with my parents as I work with them. But to your answer, I think that really gets to, people ask this question all the time around what's the difference between coaching and counseling, right? And so when you look at coaching is really one of those things where parents come in, they want to build a skill. So I want to be a better parent. I want to connect with my children better. On the other end, a counseling is more of the question that you asked, and that is, do I have some things in the past that my parents gave to me? And so now I need to deal with those kinds of things because I don't want to have those same kinds of things happen with my own children. And so that's really where it gets to. We really listen at the Parent Pilot to really kind of understand what is it that we need to do to build a process and skills and opportunities to help these parents.
So now, how do you handle, to me, if a parent raises their hand and say, I have a problem and I need help, they have enough self-awareness to kind of come to that conclusion. But a lot of the kids that are suffering, I would think, are in households where the parent doesn't have that self-awareness, where that they are just, kind of just winging it, and they're not paying that close attention to maybe how it's impacting their child.
That is correct. And really what we start with is what we call parenting styles. And so, this gets into the parenting research around, an authoritative type of parent where it's just strictly directive, very little communication, a permissive parent that just allows the child to do anything, but's very nurturing, that uninvolved parent. And so that parent that really consciously is uninvolved, or consciously uninvolved because they just don't know what to do. And then the authoritative parent, and that's the parent that really has the balance of making sure that there's rules that are set, there's expectations that are set, but those expectations are built with the child. And so when we look at a parent that comes in, we and I am really looking at what is really presenting to me, what type of parenting style is really presenting to me, and then we can start to look at how we can build a, as we call it, a flight plan for our parents.
Now, is the service primarily for the parent and doesn't involve the child at all, or is this kind of both the parent and the child together?
That is correct. The parent and child together. So, and then oftentimes I will have clients that I'm doing the coaching, the training, the education with the parent, and the parent may want that child in counseling. So I'm doing the counseling with the child. And those two combinations really act around making sure that both ends understand the middle. And so, yes, it is a comprehensive approach that we use to ensure that we're not just trying to fix the child or fix the parent outside of, the parent and child or the other parent and child relationship.
So what are some of the symptoms that there might be a problem in the parenting?
Well, I think one is in this day and time, I think, and I would, if you were to ask me that question 20 years ago, it would be a different answer than today, because you don't have technology and all of that. And so now what we call our Google children, right? So, I was just talking to a parent about this the other day, and this parent was getting frustrated because every time they said something, the child would Google, right? Saying, "Oh, mom and dad, that's not true. That's not correct." Right. So that whole idea of losing that sage on the stage type of relationship, that you really now have to understand that children and teens and young adults really come with a lot more information, whether it's accurate or not, to make some determinations as to whether or not you as a parent are really giving them their sound advice. And so I would say that is one of the biggest pieces of just really as a parent understanding how to navigate that and how to put some guardrails around that.
Now, is there anything that's happening that people come to you that isn't a crisis? I would imagine the first call to Dr. E is, I got a crisis and I better call him because I need some help. Are you ever there kind of proactively, like to get ahead of it?
Yes. Again, our core areas are coaching, education, advocacy, and counseling. And so what happens in that vertical, if you will, with education is everything from webinars to podcasts to self-guided studies that we provide for our parents. And when you say that they come to me basically on fire, I don't think that parents necessarily come to you on fire as much as they come to you and saying, I'm the parent I want to be, or this is the kind of parent that I want to be. Please help me. And so what we really try to do is have an unbiased approach that allows us to say, okay, we are going to meet the parent where they are, and then we're going to work with that parent to get them to be the parent that they want to be.
So how does the parent advocacy part of this work?
Yes, and that question is one that if we were to talk to many of the parents who experience the support of advocacy would say that thank goodness we have parent advocacy, because one of the things that happen in education and by way of experience, I spent 25 plus years in the school system, everything from a school counselor on up through principal. I directed, I was over all of the counselors and social workers in the fourth largest school district here in Georgia. And then I was also an area superintendent. And so when I look at, the way that parents are then coming to us, I'm really saying, okay, how now is that parent presenting to us and saying, okay, this is a coaching situation, and now we need to really start to coach this parent in helping them understand what it is that they're trying to accomplish.
Now, when you're working with the parents, do you have any advice for them that maybe they can do on their own that will kind of help their child become maybe a better leader?
Balance. One of the things I work with parents, and particularly mothers, is this whole idea is, parents and particularly mothers will burn the candle and leave nothing for themselves. And so, and I really love the new wellness that is really now, people are really starting to grasp and really start to, understand of wellness. So meditation, take some time to yourself, go for a walk, ride a bike. Take that time away from your child to really give yourself some time. If it means getting up 10 minutes earlier, if it means going to bed 10 minutes later, it's very important that you have a balance so that you can continue to have that energy level that you need to parent.
Now, is your work also in some of the tactics and tips around, how much do I help my kid with their homework? How much, do I get involved with their school? Do you work in that area as well, or is it more kind of personal, one-on-one, kind of the emotion part of dealing with being a parent?
No, it's really all of it, and in fact, I just became a grandparent, so it's even dealing with grandparents. It's even dealing with parents who have kids who are returning from college and have been out at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and now wondering why there's a expectation that you're home at 11 o'clock. So, no, it is definitely looking at how that parent. What really would support that parent needs at the end of the day. And so it isn't in just a mental health. It could be coaching. It could be advocacy. It could be education. So no, we've started this company so that we can make sure that we hit all of those broad areas that I have seen over the last 25 years that parents really need the support in.
Now, is this some of your services, is that things that are, you mentioned counseling, is some of this covered by insurance and some of this is strictly out of pocket?
Excellent question. Yes, the counseling is supported by insurance. Parent coaching, education, and advocacy, those are out of pocket expenses.
So what do you need more of right now? How can we help you?
Well, what I need more of is just really just get the word out and let people know that the Parent Pilot exists, that I really differentiate myself in the business from the experience that I've had, and then also, being a licensed professional counselor, and really just helping people to understand that there's a person out here that really understands parenting because he has done it and he's currently doing it, and he has the skills and background and education to really support parents in a way that I think is unique and differentiated from most people that are out there offering the same services.
Well, right now we're in Atlanta, obviously having this conversation. Is this a service that is that you're able to deliver to people anywhere?
Yes, I'm able to deliver the parent coaching, the parent education, and advocacy. I can do that all over. In fact, I'm originally from San Diego, California, and I actually have some coaching clients in California. The counseling is the only one that is bound by the state because I'm licensed just like a doctor is licensed by the state. And so if I wanted to do counseling, mental health counseling or therapy outside of the state of Georgia, I would then have to go and get licensed in that state. But the other three core areas I do offer outside of the state of Georgia.
So now do you also work with school systems around the state and I would imagine elsewhere?
I do. I work with a lot of school systems, and so that's really been one of the entry points. Having been in the school system for 25 plus years, I've built a lot of relationships, particularly with principals, and so they know my work. They understand what I've done. They understand my track record. So it's been pretty easy to get into what they call a resource list. So when parents need a resource around either counseling or helping with them in their parenting journey, then I'm on those lists. And so I'm actually all over the metro area and on those lists.
Well, if somebody wanted to learn more, have a more substantive conversation with you or somebody on your team, what's the website?
It is theparentpilot.com. And if you want to get in contact with me directly, you can contact me at dre@theparentpilot.com.
Well, Dr. E, thank you so much for sharing your story today. You're doing important work, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Lee, for your time.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio. And remember, this work would not be done without the support of our sponsor, OnPay. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Today's episode of Atlanta Business Radio is brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com.